Hello, welcome to my crafty space. It's me, Stephanie, and today I'm going to show you how to make a tea bag holder on the embroidery machine. And I made two different tea bags right here. I made this one with the snap button right here. And when you open it up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 compartments. And see, there's a little tea bag. So perfect little gift for that friend that likes to drink tea like me. I like to drink tea. My daughters both like to drink tea, and I think even my son. So this one has a little snap button if you have a snapping tool. If you don't have a snapping tool, you can just use a little ribbon and tie it closed. Or you could use a rubber band and a button. There's many different ways to do these. So this one, when you open it up, here we go. See? Cute little fabrics. So I'm going to tie the bow back on. Maybe not as nice. I don't know. We'll see. Tying, tying, tying. All right. Well, now this time it's a little messy, but there you go. And you want to leave a little space to make room for your tea bags. Okay. All right, so let's get started. For the embroidery method, if you go to Designs by Juju, she has a file that's available right here. So I have it on the embroidery machine, and I'll walk you through it. She does have directions that you can download and read, but I prefer videos, so I decided to make a video in case any of my other crafty friends would like a video on how to do it. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so you will need some supplies, and some of the supplies you will need. Number one is ribbon. I used 5/8 inch ribbon. The directions calls for 7/8 inch. Either one works. So if you don't want to use snaps, you could also just use string or a rubber band and buttons. So buttons work, or you can just use ribbon and tie it around. Either one of those works. So if you decide to do snaps, you'll need snaps. And 4 pieces of fabric. The 4 pieces should kind of match 7 by 9 inches. Interfacing for stabilizing the outer fabric, and some tearaway stabilizer and tape to tape down the ribbon. It's optional. You don't have to use it, but it helps. So the fabric that I chose for today is some yellow, turquoise, and then this pretty print right here for probably the front. I don't know. I'm probably going to put the yellow on the back. So whatever piece you decide to use for the back of it, you're going to want to sew on some interfacing stabilizer on it to stiffen up the fabric a little bit, especially if it's kind of like a thinner fabric. This yellow fabric is from my scrap pile, and so it's a little thinner, not as thick as these other two that I have. And so you definitely want to go ahead and iron your fabric. I have 4 pieces of fabric here. They're all 9 by 7. So 9 wide, 9 long, 7 wide, whatever. So they can fit on to the frame, the 5 by 7 frame. So it'll be easy peasy. All right, so what I'm going to do first is go ahead and iron. And the neat thing about the fusible stabilizer, the iron stuff, is you can cut it and you can just use your scraps for it, because it's just going to be on the inside. No one's going to see it anyway. So I'm going to iron this on, iron my other parts, and then we'll get started with the embroidery machine part. All right. So I have the embroidery machine going in the background because I wanted to add a little decor on the outside. I'll show it to you later. But after ironing your fabric, you want to take 2 of the ones that you're going to put on the inside that are going to be the pockets, fold them in half, and iron them. So I go the extra mile just for more stability. Once I iron them, I'm going to go ahead and do a little top stitch across the top on both of these. So right here and right here on the sewing machine, just to kind of give it more stability because I want this to last. So I add a little top stitch on both of these. This one kind of bunched up, but it's okay. It'll go on the outside. This whole piece isn't going to be used. It's going to be cut off anyway, so not a big deal. So again, this little top stitch is totally optional. I just like to add it just to give it more stability on the inside, but not necessary. It's not in the original directions. Just something I like to do. Okay, so first thing you want to do on your 5x7 hoop is hoop the stabilizer and go ahead and place down your fabric right side up. And then we're going to go ahead and place it in the machine. And then it's going to go ahead and do the first stitch. So here we go. This one is just kind of stabilizing the fabric in place. And it'll give you the overall size of what size it's going to be. So that's stitch 1. And then the second stitch is just going to be a placement stitch. Now on the directions, it has a whole bunch of different colors for the thread. Ignore that, it's just there so the machine stops. So you can use the same color thread for all of it. No need changing it out other than the bobbin. I did notice when I was making all this stuff, I did need to change out my bobbin. So that's the placement stitch for the first folded piece. I'm going to go ahead and place the yellow here, right here, and then it's going to go ahead and sew it and secure it. Okay, the next stitch is just kind of an outline stitch to kind of secure it all in place. See how there's extra on the outside? So I wasn't worried about that part. So it's just going to go ahead and secure the sides, tap down the sides. Now you want to make sure that you slow down, make sure that the fabric doesn't get stuck. See? You have to lift it up, hold it down. You can use tape. Actually, the directions recommend that you use tape. I just kind of watch it and slow it down. Okay, and then this bottom line here is going to be for your next one, the next folded fabric. The next folded fabric, you're going to want to keep 1 inch down from the previous one. Okay, so putting this one down now, and so approximately 1 inch. You can actually go down a little further. Here we go. So I'm using 2 fingers here. You can use about 1 inch. Try to keep it as straight as possible, and then you stitch it down again. Kind of keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't get hung up. So then you're ready to go ahead and place your ribbon here on the side before you put the outer layer on. So the directions calls for 8 inches. You can estimate, I think it's more like 4 inches and fold it in half for me. So here we go. And then you're going to kind of place it right here. And I didn't have a stitch for just this part, so what I did is I went ahead and I'm going to do the placement stitch, and then I'm going to run it again. So for the outer fabric, the last part of fabric that we're going to put on. So this is the last one. And it leaves an opening on the bottom so you can flip it around later. But I'm just doing this to kind of tighten this in, and then I'll go over it again later. See, just for that part. And then I'm going to go back, because I feel better having it stitched in place, and that way it doesn't shift. So now I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to place my piece of fabric, my last piece of fabric on. And you're going to want to put right side down because it's going to get flipped inside out. Okay. Oh, so at the beginning, what I did is I went ahead and stitched, because it's plain yellow fabric and I thought it was kind of boring. On the outside, you might want to use some pretty print. Maybe I should have used this, but I decided to just kind of embroider a little design on before using the fabric. So you can do your own personalization. You could write someone's name on it or something. It'll be fun. All right, there's the last step. My measurements were a little off. It's okay. I should have moved it over more, but I guess it'll still be cute. I don't like how it bunched up, but you get the idea. You probably want to use better quality fabric than I did. Okay, well that's it for the hoop. So then we're going to take it off and trim it. So before trimming it, the directions does say to go ahead and remove the stabilizer first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trim here. Leave just a little bit here on the edge so you don't cut on the line. I'm going to trim here, cut the corners, cut the corners, cut the corners, cut the corners to avoid bulk. But when you get here for the flipping part, you're going to want to leave some extra fabric so that it's not all frayed up. So what I did with my other one is I went ahead and just kind of cut it this way, and I left the left some of the, probably about this much where this yellow stops. So it leaves a nice little seam. Okay. All right, so I trimmed these 3 sides, and the last side here, I'm going to use my zigzag scissors, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners. Cut the corners, and then kind of cut this space kind of like in a long triangular. You'll see. So this is what it looks like with the corners cut off. Remember to leave that space open so it can fold over later. All right, so this is what it looks like once you kind of trim it closer to the lines, leaving the opening alone. All right, so now that it's trimmed and cut, I cut the corners right here, and I left a little fabric for the opening. So next we're going to flip it inside out. So here we go. Hopefully the yellow's not too wrinkly. So turning it inside out. And you're going to need something for the corners. Something long. I use bone folders because I used to be into scrapbooking too. And I think some people use skewers, but I'm afraid they're kind of sharp on the end and that they would poke through. So I have this little bone folder. It's made out of plastic. I got it many years ago off of Oriental Trading. I'm not sure if they still sell them or not, but if you just type in bone folder on Amazon, I can also link it in my my Amazon recommended link, and show you where you can get one that's similar. It won't be pink. And then go ahead and remove the tape. So I was a little off on my measurement for this, but I think it's still will be cute. So the opening right here, because we left the extra fabric, it kind of folds over, and we're just going to kind of close it up by whip stitching. And once it's folded in half and we add the button on here, the front will actually look like that. It's not, I think I still like it. It's a little wrinkly, the fabric, because I use thin fabric. I'd probably recommend more sturdy fabric for the outside. But once it has a little button, it'll be right here. There we go. I think it'll be cute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the little whip stitch. I am not an expert at whip stitch, and it actually, when I hand sew, I'm not the greatest at it. My Oma was much better at it, and mine don't look that good, but it works. So I'm going to go ahead and whip stitch this closed, and I'm not going to show you the whip stitch process because there's people they do it much better than I do, and then we'll do the button part. After completing the slip stitch on the bottom, I went on to do the snap fasteners. And putting on those snaps is a little bit more work than I like. They're open ring snaps. And so originally when I first tried to put the snaps together, I tried to use my snap tool. And then eventually just gave up on the snap tool because it was kind of hard to go in between the fabrics and do that. So I went ahead and used my little hammer tool, and that ended up working much better for me. So I'm doing a voiceover so you don't have to watch the whole struggle. But I did not give up, and it did get done. So there we go. Hammer. I had to also adjust where the ribbon went due to the embroidery. Well, thanks for watching my video, and I hope you watch some more in the future. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.